Hello, and welcome back to Interpreting Source. My name is Sean. So this is going to be a real quick video kind of talking about how there's mounting evidence to kind of prove that source theory is relatively correct to an extent. So there's been, and links going to be in the description for everything I'm going to say here, including sketches that I drew a couple years ago. So there's a paper written by, I believe his name is James Turok. He's a physicist over in the UK, talking about how there's potentially a mirrored universe where time runs backwards. That's touching ours. Or I haven't not actually read the paper. I just saw a very brief description of it. Anyway, and again, I drew about this a couple years ago, and so real fast, I also made a very short video talking about how, and you'll be able to see this on the video, how time kind of runs backwards, and this is how we're actually in the reflected universe, because the idea is that there's a singularity, and then there's basically, it's like a camera's focus on the singularity, and we are on the other side of a TV screen, and this is the information we're receiving. We're basically receptors for the information. So if you think about this clock, right? So this is clockwise relative to the viewer, right? So if you turn this around now, this is clockwise, right? You turn it around, now it's counterclockwise. Kind of the same idea. This is clockwise now, turn it around, it becomes counterclockwise. So that's kind of the idea behind that one. And then there's the James Webb Telescope has produced evidence that we might be inside of a big black hole based on the rotation that we see. And this is the premise for source theories. We are inside the black hole of everything that has all future, past, and present potentials. And then there's been another experiment done where photons have been collided into one another to create matter. And this is another constituent component of source theory itself. So the idea behind source theory is that, again, we're inside this big black hole. You can conceptualize this as a singularity. However, it's important to understand realistically this is just energy. There's no space. It's just energy patterns at different frequencies. Now, this is a conceptualization. So this black hole is basically a singularity, and as the information organizes, right, it poops out little black holes relatively. They're the size of universes, and they have different frequencies relative to the information inside of them. And these black holes will then organize themselves relative to that frequency, and then they'll be contorted because there's so much gravitational pull from the singularity itself that these black holes bend, and they combine and relative to their frequencies to create different orbital patterns. Excuse me, I'm very excited. And these orbital patterns mimic what we see in electron orbitals. So there's teardrops, there's donuts, there's spheres, or spheroids. There's all kinds of different orbitals. There's an infinite number, and light from these black holes gets pulled out of these I call them universe legs, gets pulled out of the universe legs into the source singularity, and then gets converted into matter, which then organizes itself again. And this is the reality we experience. This is how universes are created. Is this light is getting pulled and then combining into different matter, kind of like the Big Bang times infinity. And so that's kind of the idea. It's called the fuzzy atom model or the thought bubble model. And again, the premise for source theory is that we are inside a big black hole, or more or less God's mind. And this is the reality we experience. And that's about it.